friends, Allie here. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to crochet this Country Cottage Basket. This is a nice and sturdy basket, and the one we'll be making today is about 9.5 inches by 9.5 inches. But it's also super easy to make this basket any size. And as we're going through the tutorial, I'll tell you how you can do that. I also made mine striped using 3 colors, but you can use as many colors as you'd like or just make it one solid color. If you want to follow along with the free written pattern, you can find it on my blog, theturtletrunk.com, or if you want to purchase the ad-free printable PDF, you can find that in my Etsy shop and on Ravelry. I'll link to all of the places down below. This is the 13th pattern of my Country Cottage collection, so if you enjoy making this basket and like the texture and stitches, then be sure to check out all of the other patterns in my Country Cottage playlist here on my channel. And if you're ready to get started, let's head over to our supply list and let's get making. For today's tutorial, you will need 2 strands of bulky 5-weight yarn held together. I used Lion Brand Yarn's Hue and Me, which is one of my favorite yarns. You can also substitute for 1 strand of super bulky 6-weight yarn, or if you wanted to use a medium 4-weight yarn, you would need to use 4 strands held together. This is what's going to help make our basket stiff and sturdy, so it won't flop over, it'll stand up nice and straight. If you do sub the yarn, please note that the yardage will change. So I used 3 colors for my basket to make it striped. Color A is the brown, and I used approximately 130 yards, which is just under 1 skein of yarn. You can either buy 1 skein and separate it into 2 even balls to get your 2 strands, or just pull from the outside and the center at the same time, or you can buy 2 skeins of the same color and pull from each skein, and you'll just have extra yarn left over. Color B is the white, and again, I used approximately 130 yards. Color C is the gray, which I used about 150 yards, which you will need 2 skeins for that. And again, feel free to use any other colors. You can change the striping. You can make it one color however you'd like. If you're just doing one color, the total yardage is approximately 410 yards. You will also need a 8mm or L hook, scissors, and a yarn needle, and the gauge pattern is below if you want to make a gauge swatch first. I do have quite a tight tension, so if you have a looser tension, you may need to go down a hook size or your basket will turn out a bit larger. We're going to start with color A, and I have 2 strands here held together, and we're just going to treat this as if it was 1 strand. We're going to start with a magic circle, so take the tail end of your yarn and wrap it around your index finger and your middle finger once. Then bring it to the back of your hand, crossing it over like so. Then take your hook and insert it under the first strand, grab the second and pull it through. Then you can remove your fingers, and we're going to secure this with a chain 1. And there we have our magic circle. Now onto round 1, we're going to work 8 half double crochet stitches inside the circle. So to work a half double crochet stitch, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. After working 8 half double crochet stitches, you can take the short tail end here and pull it tight to close up the hole in the center. Now join to the top of the first half double crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. The chain at the beginning of each round does not count as a stitch, so we'll work the first stitch of each round into the same space we joined to. Now we're on to round 2, and we're going to work 2 half double crochet stitches into each stitch around. So starting into that same stitch that we just joined to, we're going to work 2 half double crochets and then 2 half double crochets into each stitch around for round 2. I'm coming up to the last stitch of round 2, and this is where we're going to change colors. So for most of this pattern, we're going to change colors after every second row. So on the last stitch of the round, you'll start the stitch as normal, but on the final pull through, we'll drop our current color, pick up the new color, and finish the final pull through with the new color. So I have my color B here, and I'm going to pull it through. Again, 2 strands. I'm going to pull it through for that final pull through. Then I'm going to join to the top of the first stitch with a slip stitch and chain 1, and then I'm just going to continue on using my color B yarn, and I'm going to leave the color A yarn still attached since I will be using it again later. I'm just going to leave it attached, and then I will pull it up behind when I need it. So at the end of round 2, we had a stitch count of 16, and now we're on to round 3. For round 3, we're going to work 1 half double crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. And we'll repeat that all the way around. So 1 half double crochet and then 2 half double crochets in the next stitch. At the end of round 3, our stitch count is now 24. We're going to join and chain 1. Now onto round 4, we're going to work 2 half double crochets into the first stitch, and then half double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, and we'll repeat that around. So 2 half double crochets into the first stitch, then 1 half double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. I'm just coming up to the last few stitches of round 4, and on the last stitch we're going to change to color C. And at the end of round 4, our stitch count is now 32. We're going to join and chain 1. And now on to round 5. For round 5, we're going to work 1 half double crochet into each of the first 3 stitches. Then we're going to work 2 half double crochets into the next. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. So half double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches, then 2 half double crochets in the next. At the end of round 5, our stitch count is now at 40. Join and chain 1. And now we're on to round 6. For round 6, work 2 half double crochets into the first stitch. And then 1 half double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. And we'll repeat that around, 2 half double crochets into the next stitch, then 1 half double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. At the end of round 6, we're going to change back to color A. So since we already have it attached, I'm just going to drop my color C, pick up that color A that we left behind, then do that final pull through. And at the end of round 6, our stitch count is now 48. We're going to join and chain 1. Now on to round 7. This is going to be our last round for the base. So for round 7, we're going to half double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches, then work 2 half double crochets in the next. And we're going to repeat that around. So 1 half double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches, then 2 half double crochets in the next. At the end of round 7, our stitch count is now 56, and that is our last round for the base. But if you want to make your basket larger, you can continue working as many increase rows as you want until you get your desired width. Now I'm going to join and chain 2. And when I join, I'm going to work all of my attached yarn behind my slip stitch so that they're tucked in the corner at the bottom of the basket so I can easily pick them up the walls of my basket as I change color. So slip stitch to the first stitch and just tuck all of your yarn behind, then chain 2. And all of these strands are going to be on the inside of the basket, so you won't be able to see them, and we'll weave in all of the loose ends too, so it'll look a lot neater. So just tuck those ends in as you join with your slip stitch. And then chain 2. So I'm going to weave in all of my loose ends here now, because as our basket gets taller, it'll be harder to do so. So I'm just going to weave in all of these ends, and then we'll continue on to round 8. So now we're on to round 8, and we're going to double crochet into each stitch around, but we're going to be working in the 3rd loop only. So when you're looking at the top of a stitch, there is a front loop and a back loop on the top. But if you look at the back of a half double crochet stitch, there is a 3rd loop. We're going to work into the 3rd loop for this round, and that's going to give us a nice bottom edge around our basket, and it allows the walls of our basket to go straight up instead of being rounded. So for round 8, double crochet into each stitch around, working in the 3rd loop only. The first one might be a bit tricky to get to, but as you work more around, they're easier to get to and to spot. So to double crochet, yarn over and insert your hook into the stitch. Then yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops on your hook. There we have 1 double crochet. So we're just going to repeat that all the way around for a total of 56 double crochets in the 3rd loop. So now that you see we've worked 1, the rest of them kind of now pop up more, so they're a little bit more visible. At the end of the round, we're going to join to the first stitch and chain 2. And you can see the nice flat base we have, and the walls are starting to go straight up. And now we're on to round 9. We're going to start adding in the beautiful country cottage texture now. So we're going to work a regular double crochet into the first stitch, and then we'll work a front post double crochet into the next. So double crochet into the first stitch, Then we'll work a front post double crochet in the next. To work a front post double crochet, we're going to yarn over, insert your hook around the post of the next stitch, working from the front around the back into the front again, and then yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. And there we go. There we have a front post double crochet. So we're just going to alternate those 2 stitches all the way around for round 9. So double crochet into the next stitch, and then front post double crochet in the next. Again, to front post double crochet, yarn over and insert your hook around the back of the post. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops on your hook. So we're just going to repeat those 2 stitches around all the way for round 9. I'm just coming up to the end of round 9, and on the last stitch we're going to change to color B. So on the final pull through of the last stitch, we're going to change colors. Then I'm going to join to the first stitch and chain 2. And now we're on to round 10. For round 10, we're going to work the same 2 stitches, but in opposite order. So we're going to work the front post double crochet into the first stitch, then the double crochet into the next stitch. So around the double crochet from the previous round, we're going to work the front post double crochet, and then into the front post double crochet from the last round, we're going to work a double crochet. And we're going to repeat this all the way around for round 10. So front post double crochet into the next stitch, and then double crochet into the next. At the end of round 10, join and chain 2. For round 11, we're going to do the same thing we did for round 9. So double crochet into the first stitch, then front post double crochet in the next stitch, and repeat that all the way around. On the last stitch of round 11, we're going to change to color C. Then join and chain 2. Now on to round 12. And for rounds 12 to 17, so the next 6 rounds, we're just going to repeat rounds 10 and 11, and we'll change color after every second round. If you want to make your basket shorter or taller, feel free to repeat rounds 10 and 11 as many times as you'd like. We'll have 3 more rounds after these to add our handles, so I'm going to continue on and I'll catch back up with you at the end of round 17. So I just finished round 17 and I've changed to color C and I'm ready for round 18. So this is what my basket is looking like so far. Color C will be the last color we use, so you can now cut off all of the other yarn, leaving tails that are about 6 inches long, long enough that you can weave them in. For round 18, we're just going to repeat round 10 one more time. So front post double crochet in the first stitch and then double crochet into the next stitch and repeat around. At the end of the round, join and chain 2. Sorry, my camera wasn't recording for that part. But now we're on to round 19, and this is where we're going to make the handles for our basket. We're going to double crochet into the first stitch, then front post double crochet in the next, and we're going to repeat that for a total of 5 times. And if you don't want to add handles to your basket, you don't have to. You can skip to the last round if you'd like. If you adjusted the size of the base of your basket, then you'll need to adjust where your handles are. On the opposite sides of your basket, reserve 8 stitches, then double crochet, then front post double crochet into each stitch until you reach the first spot for your handle. So I've just worked 10 stitches. Now chain 8. Then we're going to skip the next 8 stitches, then double crochet, then front post double crochet 10 times. So I've just worked a total of 20 stitches. Now we're going to make the second handle. So chain 8. Then we're going to skip the next 8 stitches, then double crochet and front post double crochet 5 times. At the end of the round, join and chain 1. And then we're going to work one last round, and we're just going to work 1 half double crochet into each stitch around, and we'll work 8 half double crochets around the chains of the handles. So half double crochet in the first 10 stitches, when you get to the handle, work 8 half double crochets across. You don't have to work through the chain, you can just work around it. Then half double crochet into each of the next 20 stitches, then half double crochet 8 across the handles again, and then half double crochet in the last 10 stitches. At the end of the round, join, and then you can cut off your yarn, leaving a long enough tail that you can weave it in. So now just weave in all of your ends and then you're done. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget you can find this pattern on my website, theturtletrunk.com, along with many more free patterns. And be sure to check out my Country Cottage playlist for more amazing patterns like this one. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.